welcome to another episode of A Girl, a Drink, and a Game. Today we are looking at a brand new one I got. I had to take a trip for work and we found a nearby little game store, so we had to check it out. Picked up a couple of good ones, hopefully, and we're going to do an unboxing. So we have here Air, Land, and Sea. I bought this because of my husband. He is an Army vet, and I thought he might get a kick out of it. It's just a little two-player game, ages 14 and up. It says it takes 20 minutes, so not too shabby. I like those quick and easy ones. So we'll get into that here in just a second. I do want to thank all of those veterans out there. I appreciate everything you do in the past, in the present, and in the future. We're a big Army family. So we have a drink today that my husband made. It is called the Ironside, is what he chose. And it is named for my father-in-law, who was a tanker back in the day. So it has coffee and cozy coffee, which is like a mix that my mother-in-law makes that's absolutely delicious, which is like instant coffee and Mexican hot chocolate mix and some creamer mix, and I feel like I'm some cinnamon. I feel like I'm missing some things, but it's like a powder mix that you can make either just to drink straight or you can add into coffee. It is delicious. But anyway, so he's got coffee, some of that mix, and then also Jameson Stout and Southern Comfort in here. And I believe the stout, I could have this wrong, so do not quote me on this, but I believe the stout has something to do with coffee too, I think. I could be wrong. I don't remember. We got it at like a tasting one time and they were telling us about it. But anyways, let's taste it. It's very strong coffee taste. I usually like to, light my coffee up with a little French vanilla creamer or something like that. But it's good. It's good. It'd be better with creamer, but it's good. I didn't know how the Jameson and the Soka would go, but it's not bad. If you're a coffee fan, you would definitely like this. It's good, and I'm happy that he did not make it scalding hot. He likes his coffee like boiling, and I like mine sat for 30 minutes after I put cold creamer and, cools it down. So anyways, let's get to the game. So I already read you the stats. Little blurb on the back says that in the midst of the greatest conflict humanity has ever known, victory will be claimed by the military that can overcome their enemies in every battleground. Do you have the skills to lead your nation's best and bravest in air, land, and sea? Then it goes on to say, in air, land, and sea, two players battle for control over each theater of war by playing battle cards and strategically utilizing their special abilities to gain the advantage. Whoever controls the most theaters, thus claiming the most victory points, wins the war. So it sounds pretty simple. Components are 2 Supreme Commander cards, 18 battle cards, 3 theater cards, 14 score markers, and 1 rule book. So let's see what we have here. All right, so here are the components. Here's the rule book. Actual book format. I like that. The ones that get all sorts of foldy kind of get on my nerves, I'm not gonna lie. Here we have, I think these are the theater cards, and let me take these out so I can see the contents list. I think these are the theater cards and the commander cards. Why can I not open this? Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, there we go. So you have your air theater, you have your land theater, and then you have your sea theater. And on the backs of them, they all say little things that I don't really understand yet. The rules will likely inform me of that. Then we have here, these are our 14 score markers. Let's take a look at that. We have little 1 tokens. We have little 3 tokens. And we have 6 tokens. There's 2 6s and a handful of 3s and a handful of 1s. So those are the little score markers. Then here, oh, these are the Supreme Command cards. So you have 2 of those. Supreme Command. That's what, or Commander, it says on one side. The back says first player and second player. Second player loses tied theaters. First player wins tied theaters. Talks about the cards left in your hand and the points your opponent scores if you withdraw. So the more cards you have left, the less points that your opponent scores. So I would assume you want to keep the most cards and you don't want to lose cards. Then here we have our battle cards. They come in a few different colors. So this is, I assume, in association with air based on the color coding there. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they all match this air card. And on the back of this, on the back of this, it references these cards as well. And then you have the same for the land. These match, and on the back it references these cards by the looks of it. Again, I've never seen this game nor played it before, so we're just kind of going at it as we go. And then you have the same with your sea again. These cards match and they're referenced on the back of that card. So let's take a peek at the instructions. Let's move all our plastics over. Take another sip. That's good. I don't know how he comes up with these combinations of drinks or the names. He just throws them out there. By the way, if you watch the show and the names of whatever drink is on this board is not the name of the real drink that exists, if it exists, or if a name means something totally different, we're just doing our own thing here, so don't mind us. There very well may be some real drink called the Ironside that consists of something totally different, or there may really be a drink that consists of these 4 things, although I kind of doubt it. And it may have a different name. That's always possible. The instructions are very wordy, so we're probably not going to read every single bit, but I'm going to try and kind of skip through. Hopefully once I know this game very well, I will come back and do a proper how-to video, but this is just a little first reactions. So, it says, first you want to set up, you randomly place the 3 theater boards, which again are these, in any order to create a row. And then you shuffle the 2 Supreme Commander cards, deal 1 face down in front of each of the players. Players then turn their Supreme Card Commanders face up. The player who received the red commander, the first one, would be this one, will take their turn first. Shuffle the remaining 18 cards and deal 6 to each player from their starting hands. Players should keep their hands secret from each player. Set the rest of the cards to one side of the playing area without revealing them. And put all the tokens in a pile on the other side of the play area. So that's not too shabby. Let's see if we can do this here a little bit. So we have sea, land. Where'd my other one go? Air. Then you put all your tokens. We're going to leave them in the box just to keep them together. One person gets that card, one person gets this card. And then these we need to shuffle. So this is playing the game. It's played over a series of rounds called battles. To win a battle, you must either control more theater cards than your opponent after both players have played all their cards, or convince your opponent to withdraw. That's interesting. If you win a battle, you earn victory points represented by tokens, and the first player to reach 12 victory points wins the game. Turn the page. During a battle, the players take turns placing one card at a time and trying to control more theaters than their opponent. You do not draw cards during a battle to be sure to plan. So be sure to plan carefully and make the most of the 6 cards that you are dealt. Give it one more shuffle. These were all in order when I first started, so I got to give them like a real good shuffle. Okay, so this is theaters. Each of the 3 theater boards creates a column between the players. One for air, one for land, one for sea. These columns are called theaters. Cards are always played into the 3 theaters. If a card is in a particular column, we say that the card is in that theater. And then the ones next to it are the adjacent theaters. A player owns all the cards on their side of the theater boards. During your turn, you will only play cards on your side. So I would play cards on this side. The opponent would play cards on this side. Scoot these down a little bit. Take another drink. It says, let's examine a game in mid-battle. In this example, there are 3 cards in the C theater. One, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to read all that. So if I were to deal 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then these goes on the side. So this is kind of what play looks like. Cards are played to advance your war effort, and how they are played will ultimately determine who wins the war or the game. Strength. The number on each card is the card's strength. And if the total strength of the cards on your side of the theater is higher than the total strength of the cards on the opponent's side of the theater, you control the theater. So let's just say I have a 5 here and they have a... Hold on. This has to go here. And they have a 6 here. Theirs is higher, so they're going to control it on this one. Most cards have a tactical ability next to their strength, which takes effect as soon as the card is played face up to a theater. These abilities are instant or ongoing, which is explained in further detail on page 7. So for a tiny little game, it's got quite a hefty rule book. Face down cards. Cards can also be played face down as a wild card in any theater. Face down cards always have a strength of 2. Face down cards do not have any tactical abilities. You may examine your own face down cards at any time, but you may not examine your opponent's. Covered cards. When a card is played to a theater that already contains cards, the newly played card is placed so that it overlaps the previous played card where it's still showing the top portion of the card. Any card overlapped by another is called a covered card. Similarly, any card that is not overlapped is referred to as uncovered. So you would play it like that. So you could see the top part of each of the cards in the row. Resolving a battle. During a battle, players take turns stating the player who is the first Supreme Commander card. So whoever happened to luck out and get number 1 starts. You must take one of these 3 actions. Deploy, improvise, or withdraw. To deploy, you play 1 card from your hand face up. When you play a card, you must follow the deployment restrictions. You can only play cards on your side of the theater board. Your card must be the same type as the theater, so you can only play air on air. You can't play an air on the land. Makes sense. If you have other cards in that theater already, you must place a new card so that it covers partially overlaps the cards. Just like I said, you have to stack them like this. Remember, when you play a card face up, any tactical ability that card takes effects immediately. So see page 7, which we haven't gotten to yet. But they have these little symbols, which I think this is what it's referring to. There's like a lightning bolt and there's an infinity symbol. So I think it has something to do with that. This one doesn't have anything. This is a 6. And it just says heavy bomber at the top and there's no symbols. So let's see what this says. I think the back of them, it shows that you play them face up, but the back like has the pictures of the cards, which I don't quite get. But anyway, so that was deploy. If you improvise, you can play one card from your hand face down to any theater, and it's treated as a wild card. So let's say you don't have any land cards, you can place like, well, these are all land. Let's say you don't have any sea cards, you can place a land card down, and that'll count as a strength of 2, which is actually on the back of the card as well. So all of the backs of all the cards have that 2 on them. But then you lose the tactical ability that was on the card. If you think your chances of winning the current battle are low, you may withdraw. If you do, your opponent wins the battle. So that's also an option. So you deploy, you play face up, you improvise, you play face down, or you withdraw and you give up that battle. Sometimes it may be best to withdraw in order to deny your opponent victory points. So that's interesting. Remember, you do not draw cards from the battle deck during a battle unless a tactical ability allows you to do so. So during one battle, you have to do whatever you are drawn. So the tactical abilities, as I said, some of them have these little lightning bolts, some have the little infinity signs. And when you play it face up, it takes effect immediately. There are 2 kinds. One's instant and one's ongoing. The instant, which is the lightning bolt, take effect immediately after the card is played, or if the card is revealed by being flipped face up. Once the instant ability is resolved, it has no further effect unless somehow that card is revealed again. So for example, this one right here, it says it's a strength of 2, it's airdrop. The next time you play a card, you may play it to a non-matching theater. So that actually allows you to play an air on a land, or, a land on a sea, etc. Are they all the same? They are not. So the 5 of the air card and the 5 of the land card have 2 different powers on them. So this one is a containment, which it says if any player plays a face down card, destroy that card. And that's a continuous because it has the infinity symbol. And this one, the land 5, says disrupt, and it has a lightning bolt, so it's an instant. So it says starting with you, both players choose and flip one of their uncovered cards. So I guess that's how you end up getting things flipped back over. Note, because instant abilities take effect when flipped face up, it is possible for multiple instant abilities to take effect around the same time. In these situations, always resolve the instant abilities in order they happened and fully resolve each ability before moving on to the next. Once an instant ability begins taking effect, it always resolves fully, even if it gets placed down before completing. So, like that one, it said to flip it, you would still resolve whatever the action said. That is pretty good, even without the creamer. The cozy coffee helps. It actually has like powdered creamer in it, so it does have some creamer in it. But I'm used to pour the bottle in. But anyways, ongoing abilities, these are always in effect as long as the card is face up. If an ongoing ability is flipped face down, the ability no longer has any effect until that card is revealed again. So if any players plays a face down card, destroy that card, that would be in effect every time somebody plays one face down until this one gets forced to be flipped over. So, you must carry out the effects of a tactical ability unless they contain the word may. So you don't have a choice. You have to do whatever it says, unless it says may. If the tactical ability is impossible to perform, the ability is ignored and has no effect. So then it has a list of key terms that kind of go in depth about what some of the words in the tactical abilities mean. So flip. says many tactical abilities allow you to flip a card. Flipping a card means either turning a face-up card so it is face down, or turning a face-down card so it is face-up, etc. It goes into detail, kind of explaining more about that. I'm going to skip that part. There are two ways that a battle can end. Either if a player withdraws, if you withdraw, your opponent wins the battle. Or if both players have played all the cards in their hands, at this point, the player who controls the most theaters wins the battle. In order to control a theater, you must have a higher total strength there than your opponent has in that theater. If your strengths are tied, the first player wins the tie and controls the theater. So whoever got this card automatically wins in a tie. So that's kind of cool and bad, depending on if you got this card or not. If there are no cards on either side of a theater, the first player controls that theater. So getting this card, which is random, remember at the beginning it just said to like dish them out upside down and whoever gets it gets it. Then scoring victory points. If you win a battle, you score victory points, which are tracked with the score markers. The number of victory points you score depend on if and when your opponent withdraws. If neither player withdraws, both players have played all their cards, the winner scores 6 victory points. If one of the players withdraws, the other player scores the victory points shown on the withdrawing player's Supreme Commander card based on how many cards they withdraw has left in their hand at that time. The longer you wait to withdraw, the more victory points your opponent will score. After scoring, check to see if a victor has enough VPs to win the game. If not, set up another fight for another battle. So that is why you would want to withdraw, because the sooner you withdraw, the less points they get. And if you guys make it through the whole battle and nobody withdraws, then you get 6 points. And I believe it said you only need 12 points to win, which means only 2 rounds. If you win the whole game. So, then it says, it goes on to setting up for the next battle. You collect all the cards, start a new deck. Basically, you set up like the very beginning of the game. You do exchange the first and second player cards, though. So the person who was first, the first round, is now second. You don't do it randomly the second time around. Then winning the game. After each battle, you must check if the winner of the battle has enough victory points to declare victory. The first person to reach a total of 12 VPs wins the war and the game. You can adjust the length of the game by changing the number of points you need to win. For a longer playing game, you play until somebody reaches 18. When you are first learning, this says beginner mode, when you are first learning how to play, you can use a simplified method of scoring. The winner of each battle scores 1 VP. The first player to reach 3 VPs win the game. So that's actually not that much simpler. The scoring's not too complicated. It also says playing in beginner mode allows you to concentrate on learning all of the tactical abilities of the cards without worrying about giving your opponent a lot of VPs by withdrawing too late. Okay, I guess that part does make sense. But the scoring is pretty simple. It's listed on these little cards. And it basically says, the number of cards left in your hand equals the points your opponent scores if you withdraw. So if you withdraw when you have 5 or more cards, you start with 6 cards. And if you have 5 or more, they only get 2 points if you're player 2. And it's different if you're player 1. So player 1 always has the advantage in the game, no matter who has it. So it's good to be player 1, which again is randomly chosen in the first round, but then in the second round it's automatically swapped. And then in the third round it's swapped again, so on and so forth, and you just keep going back and forth on who's player 1, player 2. So that's, I think you have to start to, I think this is definitely one of those games you kind of have to play to learn. I think a lot of it comes down to what these little cards say. So you get to choose what order you play your cards, and you want a high volume of points on your theater. But it also depends on what your card says. So like this is only a 2, but it says the next time you play a card, you may play it to a non-matching theater. So let's say I want to get up on C, but I don't have any C cards, which I don't in this hand. I have 2 air cards and 3 land cards. So that might be a really good one for me to play on air right away because it instantly allows me to play something on a non-matching theater. So then I can take my 6 card and land it over here on C, and because maybe he's kicking butt on C and he's not doing so good on land. So I know I can already beat him on land with my 5 and my 4, but I have no chance of beating him on C. So I might want to put that 6 on C so I can kind of have more of a strength on that theater, because you want to control as many theaters as possible. So there's definitely a little strategy in this game for sure. But I think you have to start to learn the cards before you can figure out what that strategy is going to be. So this being my like unboxing first initial experience, I can't really give you a whole lot of strategy ideas. But this one, for example, says all cards covered by this card are now strength 4. So when you lay that down, so that's a 4. If I cover that card, wait, no, it would be under it. If that one's down, sorry. If that one's down, it's a 5. And then I play a 4 on top of it. It says all cards covered by this card are now strength 4. So I actually lose a point on my 5 card by playing my 4 card on top of it. So you wouldn't want to do that. If you would really want to play the 4 first, then play the 5 on top of it. So, again, strategy. There's strategy. You have to learn the cards. We'll read a few others. This one says redeploy. It's a number 4 C card. And it says you may return one of your face down cards to your hand if you do play a card. So that's interesting. So if I had played this as a 2, I can take this back in my hand. Now I have that to play again elsewhere. Maybe I'd want to do that, maybe not. And it says if I do, then I have to play a card. So if I take that one up, then I got to play, this one down or whatever. Here's one that says escalation. All your face down cards are now strength 4. So that's pretty cool. So if you had a lot of face down 2s, you can turn all those into 4s. So that's cool. Maneuver, flip and uncover a card in an adjacent theater. Now that, remember, that's whatever's next to it. And these go in a random order when you first start. So right now, the land may be next to C, but in the next game, well, land's in the middle, but in the next game, it might be over here. So the only adjacent one is C. I wouldn't be able to play anything I wouldn't be able to flip anything in the air column. Let's see. Draw one card and play it face down to an adjacent theater. Blockade. If any player plays a card to an adjacent theater occupied by at least 3 other cards, destroy that card. And I think that just means you discard it and it's out of play. Let me see if I can find the word destroy here. If I can find that glossary. So some tactical abilities instruct you to destroy a card. Destroyed cards are always placed face down on the bottom of the deck. If a card is destroyed immediately after it is played, such as a blockade, then that card does not get to use its tactical advantage. Okay. So if the blockade card, that's the one I just read. But if somebody else destroys my blockade card for whatever reason, then it would not get to use its advantage. So destroy means it goes face down in the bottom of the draw deck, which doesn't get played until the next battle. But yeah. All right. I like it. I think it's cool. I think this is one that my husband will actually enjoy. He's very strategic. and he long time Army, so I think he'll dig it. He also loves, he's a huge history buff, like military history, and by the looks of this, it seems to be like a World War II based game. I don't think it actually says that anywhere, but according to him, now granted he hadn't seen it open, he had only seen the box art, but he said it looked very World War II-ish. He apparently made this a little strong because I'm already slurring my words. Kidding, I'm not intoxicated. It's not that strong, but it is better than I expected for not having creamer in it. But yeah, so anyways, there is my first impressions. It's got the inside of the box has this cute little like newspaper print on the inside. It says war, military power, something something. Military powers collide, something something. Air, land, and sea. I don't know, it's like hundreds of newspapers just like piled on top of each other, so you can't really read the whole thing. But that is what we have. Air, land, and sea, folks. It is made by Arcane Wonders, designed by John Perry. That's what we have. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I am 3 subscribers away from my next goal for this month. So please, if you're watching this, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to know when I have new videos, hit that notifications bell. I typically do 1 video a week, but it is not the same day every week. So it's hard to say, just depends on what life brings me. I still have a little stack of new games. It keeps growing a little bigger, so this is the next in line stack of games that, again, keeps getting bigger. I have a Hasbro McDonald's toy that's going to get reviewed, probably with my old ones. I don't think you can see them. You might be able to see them where my camera's sitting. But I have a line of them last time they were at McDonald's sitting up here. And then they just came back to McDonald's recently. Very different, though. And my coworker Kelly got me this one because she loves me. So I'm probably going to do a video on all of them together. Then Rest in Peace is one that I bought with this. Then I still have my Secret Santa Shady Pets. And I still have my Christmas present, which is Coco Loteria. So these are on the docket for the next videos. So stay tuned. And let me know if there's one of those 4 that you want to see sooner rather than later. Let me know if there's anything behind me that you want to see. Let me know. Comment, comment, comment. Share, share, share. And most importantly, cheers. Have a good day.